Don't blink, it's your boy Ink. Welcome to the show. You guys are doing well. This 29th of August 2024. We are rocking with a solid subject today. We are rocking with such an incredible thing that happened. Fasten your seatbelt, gentlemen. Fasten your I'm gonna say seatbelt, but we already said it. I'm gonna say something cooler for ladies, because ladies are awesome. Anywho, it doesn't really matter. We're talking about a subject that I didn't think would ever happen. The weird collaboration that happened on the 28th of August between GSP and Keemstar. I know, I'm as shocked as you are. A little bit more shocked, but as shocked as you are. So we have our tarts. You see me eat. I hope you don't mind. We just woke up. We have an extremely busy day. So this is my breakfast. Oh. See, Keemstar and GSP aren't friends, right? There's a bunch of time where actually I had to side with Keemstar. And it was an asshole, but I have to side with Keemstar. Right? And it's weird because this is gonna be a long video, so fasten your seatbelt. It's gonna be a long ass video. We're probably gonna do 2 parts because it's way too long. It is way too long. Not like my hairs. I'm gonna be putting the hoodie and the hat. Got my tattoos and up. The wonderful weather. So yeah, I had to side with Keemstar. So before we even start with I think I'm gonna do this. Before we even start with the collaboration, I'm gonna talk about the DSP and Keemstar history. But it's a long one. So if you don't know who Keemstar is a war dog. So Keemstar is the person who's gonna sell weapon in times of war. Keemstar is going to sell story in time of drama. When somebody have a bad day, Keemstar have a good day, right? However, there's the negative. There's a lot of positive to Keemstar. I'm not a fan of Keemstar, don't get me wrong. I think he's crooked. I think he's not crooked. I don't know why I said that. I think morally crooked. Okay, let's say morally crooked. But the thing with Keemstar is he has this code of conduct, he has this code of value. Like for example with the local so this was the negative, the positive. For example with the local podcast, you can see him being extremely understanding, extremely caring about Boogie, about Wing of Redemption. There was supposed to be DSP, right? It was replaced by Tommy C. Tommy C wasn't the first choice. You can tell that Tommy C wasn't as cared for as Boogie and Wings of Redemption. Also the fact that Wings and Boogie have been in the business as long as Keemstar. It's kind of funny. I want to shout out to Sir Winslot. Sir Winslot 03. Why? Because we started the same time, right? There's a very small when I started we were, oh my god, when we started we're about but I know we're about 25 that started at the same time. We're 2 standing, right? So Keemstar having started in the same time as Wing and Boogie, or around the same time, there's this YouTuber, the OG YouTuber kind of chemistry, kind of solidarity, kind of teamship. I don't know how to call it, but there's a care there. And Keemstar, there's time where he won't post a story. When Fusi, you see, Keemstar might have been an asshole, right? But there's good part of him. See, Keemstar, he was the one to push Fusi to do a what should I call it? Like almost a manic depression, right? But when Fusi had a manic depression, who was there? No one. Keemstar was there though. See? So there's no balance, right? So Keemstar, and that's the thing with Keemstar. I had my own hypothesis. He never really went after DSP. He went after DSP for the incident, right? But with the number of things, the number of detractors that hated DSP, the number of people that hated on this guy for obvious reason, of course. Keemstar never really went against DSP. Now, Keemstar do mention, he does mention that. Yeah, this is complicated. It's gonna be complicated to talk about. Keemstar mentioned that DSP had a lot of detractor, right? Yesterday was the first talk, so there was a lot being said there. He had a lot of detractor, and Keemstar felt like DSP was getting enough hate. The detractor of DSP were insane. Like if you take the example of Wing, I'm not gonna talk about Boogie because I don't give a fuck about Boogie. I think he's a piece of shit. who lied about cancer, um, who always asks people for help but is not willing to help himself, who asks people for money but spend it on stupid shit. Like, and again, this is gonna be a small hypothesis, but Boogie is obsessed with this weight loss medication, right? And he always says, "Oh, I don't have money," but then he talks about his weight loss. Thanks for the medication. Right? And this is very, very dangerous. Very, very, very dangerous because Boogie isn't a fucking doctor. He doesn't know the side effect. He doesn't give a fuck about the side effect. You want to lose weight. You want to lose weight, and in his mind, right? If I lose weight, I'll make more content. Then we both of us, the person watching, the person talking. No, it's not the case because Boogie will be in a position where he hasn't made solid content in years and years and years and years, right? More busy on Twitter because you get the same attention on Twitter but less effort. So I'll focus on Twitter. That being said, great podcast. Come back to Keemstar and DSP. See, Wings of Redemption had so many trolls, and Keemstar was a homie of Wing because he kind of was there. See, Keemstar might go the distance, but he won't cross the line, right? And when you're misery broker, which is actually a good term for Keemstar, not be willing to cross a line, actually super important. There was this guy, this journalist, I forget his name, Middle Eastern kind of guy, short hair, and he's always the one covering UFC. And people, they don't like him, but that guy, because he brings up stories, but that guy has multiple times been proven to have information that could have destroyed people's career and never got out with it. Why? Because he had this shit line. The shit line unfocused. The shit line is a term that was made up in the 90s, 2000, one of my beloved show, which is Trailer Park Boys. We're crossing the shit line is, I don't like you, you don't like me, but as long as you don't cross a line, I'm not gonna go after you. You cross that line and all bets are off, right? And as long as you don't cross that line, I won't cross that line. So it's a model of self-preservation instead of double self-destruction, right? So Keemstar was like, hey, I'm not gonna go against DSP because he has those. However, he went after DSP once, right? And it was about the masturbation incident, right? But DSP saw that and said, hey, Keemstar's an asshole, right? And for DSP also is right. The detractor that goes against DSP, nobody gives a shit. Right? Nobody. Well, I do give a shit. I'm part of the Snortex. Fucking love the Snortex. But grand scheme of thing, nobody gives a shit. Grand scheme of thing, even the best of the streamer like Duty, stream, get 20,000 views per day, which is amazing. But Keemstar was reaching numbers and the million of views, right? So yes, Keemstar did only talk about DSP in one fashion, but that one fashion got him a lot more traction. There's a lot more traction into the DSP Snortex than a detractor, right? There's also the fact that if I talk about this subject every single day, I get tired of it. If I talk about a different subject every single day or a different person every single day, I keep it interesting, you know? Diversity of content. So, DSP was like, oh, fuck you, Keemstar. And DSP always hold a grudge against Keemstar, even though he wasn't the only one. And Keemstar was like, okay, well, this guy don't like me, fuck him, right? And to be fair, DSP isn't pulling the number he was about 5-6 years ago when the accident happened. So for Keemstar, he's like, Keemstar, positively again. Keemstar, you may hate him, but he really gives a shit about YouTube. He has this YouTube museum where he has a bunch of people golden plaque, this silver plaque, and it's kind of crazy because he's possibly one of the biggest curator or curator of YouTube. He really cares about the platform. He really cares about the history of the platform, right? And understand how it works. So with DSP, it's like, okay, well, I don't need to talk about DSP. I have other subject, and I have to observe and I have to admire him, Keemstar. I mean, because DSP they talk a lot of shit about Keemstar during the years, right? And for that one incident, so it's kind of complicated because if you're bonjour, ça va bien? Il fait beau, hein? Il fait beau. Oui. So you see, Keemstar and DSP. See, the thing is, DSP and a part, I can understand DSP. DSP on one side, my neighbor, my DSP on one side is like, hey, you talk about me, so fuck you. People are gonna talk about me, I have to fight back, right? But on the other point, you're like, you're mad at me for talking about you, but you talk about me every time you get a chance, right? So with DSP and Keemstar, there was this constant back and forth. Now Keemstar was like, hey, you know what? I'll be completely honest. This is my perception once again. But Keemstar being kind of retired and not being looking for everyday news has more time. So for example, somebody that like DSP will constantly attack him, he can say, hey, fuck it, I don't care. However, if I notice it, I'm like, okay, well. So what happened was he went on this podcast and he went on a rant. And to be fair, um, I truly believe there was an opportunity for him. Keemstar to the DSP was like, hey, you're every single day begging, right? And Keemstar wanted to do the Lol Cow podcast, and if you look at the Lol Cow podcast, yes, we shit on the Lol Cow, we make fun of them, but there's just really care about the Lol Cow. And the Lol Cow, I'll be honest, it's not what we expected. I was extremely excited for the Lol Cow, right? I didn't know Boogie, I didn't know Wings, I didn't know Tommy. I was in love with a couple of Lol Cow. We're talking about Cobra GFS, we're talking about DSP, we're talking about and Berlin, we're talking about Nico Cado, Avocado, right? We're talking about Chris Chan, the Christorian, right? About those Lol Cow. And with Keemstar, it's like, hey, we're gonna make a functional podcast with dysfunctional people, right? It's kind of cool. I have to admit, it's a cool subject. So DSP was like, Keemstar was like, hey, DSP, I'll give you a platform to tell your story. And yes, it's extremely complicated. So DSP was promised $50,000, which is a big bucks, right? It's a big contract. It's worth it. Where the shoes break, where the soul hurt, is DSP saw it as a attack. Now DSP was gonna get shit on the Lol Cow podcast. Of course, he was gonna get shit on, of course. But at the same time, DSP was gonna be in a position where he gets to tell his story to a different public than just his public. So, for example, DSP, and I'm not gonna lie, DSP has not the best numbers. He'll do like 1,000 views per week on a video, which is still pretty good. It's way better than me, but I haven't been doing this for 16 years, you know? So, yes, DSP public is very limited, which means that his reach or his capacity to reach people, his capacity to talk to people, his capacity to get views is very limited, right? On the Lol Cow, you get shit on, but at least you get more visibility. On the Lol Cow, you get shit on, but at least you get to tell your story. The Lol Cow podcast, at least you get shit on, but at least people are there for you, right? People are gonna be shitting on DSP forever because of what he did, right? And I don't think that's fair. Although I'm part of the detractors. Not part of the detractors. I'm not a detractor, but I'm part of watching, or at least enabling, or at least promoting, or at the very least, giving views to detractors, right? Giving views to negativity, which I don't know if it's wrong. I don't know if it's bad. That's not the question of the day. Am I a misery broker? No. But see, with DSP, people are going to be watching Detractor channel, right? With the Lol Cow podcast, nobody's going to be watching Detractor for that. They'll be watching DSP for that, right? And DSP could have gained a lot from Keemstar, but Keemstar had a lot to gain from it, right? And they didn't like each other, so DSP was like, DSP to defense of Keemstar, and it does seem I'm siding more with Keemstar, but okay, so here's why I'm saying in this situation. I'm in this very situation, I do not like Keemstar, right? Here's why I'm siding with Keemstar in this situation. Keemstar is an asshole, okay? DSP is an asshole, okay? Keemstar is a asshole because it's a business and he needs to be an asshole. DSP is an asshole because people are attacking him and it's emotional. Now, you can excuse business. Cannot excuse emotion in a form of business, which is YouTube, because yeah, this is your livelihood, right? So Keemstar does trade like a business. Keemstar can do whatever the fuck he wants. He did it for what? He did it for 12, 13 years. He's retired with some fuck you money, right? Even if people dislike him, he doesn't care. He's retired, right? couldn't leave completely YouTube because he still cared about YouTube, which is good. I appreciate that. I admire that. With DSP, it's a case of, oh yeah, you want to fight? I'll fight. The thing is, with DSP, you have to understand, you can't fight everybody. You can't fight everybody, right? And because you plan on fighting everybody and you claim you can fight everybody, people again keep striking. When is my turn to fight DSP, right? And that's where his main distraction come from. There's this motivation of him acknowledging him. Even for myself, I was talking with Jenna, his stepsister, and the only reason I was talking to her, yes, it was sexual. She's a good person. She's kind, but she was asking me to do some stuff, right, sexually, and the only reason why I care so much was because she was related to DSP, and it was my way of saying, hey, this guy's a fucking asshole. Let me fuck him. Let me fuck with him back. Is that the right thing to do? No, absolutely not. Am I regretful? Yes. I think that was stupid of me. I think it was. I was getting everything. I was a win-win. I got to fuck with DSP, and I got to be satisfied sexually, right? Which is amazing. But that being said, amazing podcast. See, with the DSP and Keemstar, DSP constantly attacking Keemstar, and Keemstar being in a position of fuck you, but you can't talk about me that way, right? So, to end things off, there was this constant relationship of hatred versus Keem, this constant relationship of this constant relationship of hatred versus DSP. Right? We're gonna be finishing the first part here. We're gonna do the second part, which is how we got to the subject, how we got to the podcast, how we got to the interview yesterday, how we got to the thing, my thoughts, my perception, the meat of it. So this was the prep, this was the amuse-bouche, this was the drinks you have with friends, the chips you have. But now you're drunk and you want a fucking burger. You're home, you want a fucking burger. Burger is coming.